So Chris, 1-0 loss here, really tough way to lose a game of football right at the end.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. It is tough to take. When you have half of football where there's as much dominance as we had, I felt that large parts of the game we were very good with the ball, very good in defensive moments as well, and it's very hard to take. But it's football at this level, and we've just spoken in there where, as good as we were in that first half, we had moments where we need to capitalise from after being on top. And we had a lot of that first half where the opposition were being pulled apart a little bit, and we were able to open them up in different ways and getting into good areas, and it shows what happens in the last kind of 10-15 minutes really rams home how important it is to capitalise when you're on top. So absolutely, devastated for the boys, because they've put a lot of hard work in, and one key moment, and it's in the back of your net, and that is the punishing part of football.
Just how the lads feeling after that? It was quite a strong performance, thought, from a young backline, maybe missing a little bit of experience. Good experience for them, but how are they feeling?
Yeah, well, they know that they've put in a hell of a shift. They've worked extremely hard. They've put their bodies on the line, and they've dug in. When the opposition have made some tweaks at the second half, and they've gone a little bit more purposeful with their press. They've been a bit more direct with their play, and they've asked a lot of questions of our backline. And as you see, apart from that one moment, we've stood up to it, and we've been very good. And it is disappointing when you get into some opportunities, some areas. Even in the second half, we have one or two good chances to go 1-0 up, and the longer that goes on, when you're missing or not capitalising from these big moments, you do tend to worry that you're going to get sucker punched, and it comes from another set piece. That's 2 weeks on the bounce that we've conceded late from set pieces, and boys that have got jobs to do. I know it's tough because we're missing one or two big boys, some big lads that are good headers of the ball in both boxes, and we just missed that last little bit today in both boxes, and that is the disappointing thing, because the graft, the effort, the commitment from the lads, the bravery to play in the way we did in large spells, it bodes well for the future though. In terms of the way we played, the way we controlled the game, I think that gives us encouragement, it gives us belief. That we were stretched in terms of squad, missing a lot of players, as we said, but it's a case of being able to find that resolve, and I still felt that we created enough chances to get something more than what we got out of the game today.
Obviously, we need to put it behind us. We've got FA Cup next week, home to Frome. What are the thoughts going to be ahead of that one?
Well, it's a case of first and foremost recovering from a really tough turnaround. First 5 games of the season, they come thick and fast, and we've had some opponents that have really tested us. They've been good. They've been organised. They've given us different problems, and for large parts, we've shown that we're a match for most teams in this league, and that's really encouraging. We go into next week against a team that did the double over us last year. I know they got relegated, but they beat us twice and comfortably. So they're going to rock up next week with a real belief, a real determination to continue that run, and our boys are going to have to make sure that they look after themselves over the next couple of days, go out and do a little bit of exercise to get their bodies in the right shape, so we can turn up next week here on our patch and give the fans that have paid their hard-earned money to support the boys and get right behind us. It was fantastic today. The support, and the encouragement, and the appreciation for the boys' efforts today was first class from the fans, and we all feel for those disappointed fans, because we do believe that we could have had a lot more out of it, and it just goes to show we have to try and find ways of being a little bit more resilient, or able to solve problems that arise, and we have to make changes. There's that little short change around after Saturday's game. Boys are maxed. They're maxed out. There's lots of energy that's been put into their last 2 games, and we've got nothing to show. We've only got 1 point from the 2 games, and we deserve more. We deserve more, and that's the thing that's going to have to inspire us to go next week, and when we come back to the league beyond that, make sure that we've made those little tweaks, and our understanding is even clearer on our jobs in and out of possession and set pieces to make sure that these things don't happen and we don't keep getting slapped in the face.
Just a little bit on our start to the season overall. How would you sum it up?
Well, I said to the lads before the game that up until today we've been in front in 3 games. Going into that second half, kind of late on, and we've not been able to see things out. And today, when we've been the better side for large parts, we've conceded late on, and it's just a case. Yes, we are a young group. We're a young, developing and improving group. But it's a case of, can we learn a little bit quicker? Can we dig that little bit deeper in real key moments? And I think like I said earlier, it bodes well. Some of our performances, some of our use of the balls, the way that we're happy to put our bodies on the line and really dig deep at times. It's just, one or two moments that have cost us this season so far. And you iron those one or two things out, and it bodes well for the future, and it gives us a real belief that we can do something and start putting more points on the board.